Hey, good morning. How are you doing on this beautiful Tuesday morning? I'm trying to go live on Instagram here as well as all the other places. Oh, there we go. That worked. Just took a second. I just wanted to pop on and I wanted to share some gratitude. You guys really came through yesterday for me. I had posted that I was facing a lot of challenges with the audiobook recording. I mentioned to you guys in the post that I shared that there was difficulty with files disappearing, with people quitting, with, I didn't even mention this in the post, but natural disasters happening. And somehow we made it through to the other side. Yesterday was a really good session. Fingers crossed. I think we're near the finish line. There's some editing and stuff that needs to happen. But I just wanted to say thank you. I feel like all of your encouragement really kind of pushed me through yesterday. I was so relieved. This book is called The Last Ceremony, and it's about creativity in plant medicine. It's a topic that I've talked about a lot over the last 2 years. I talked about it at South by Southwest and Creative Mornings and Creative Zen, all these different places. And I've really been an advocate of plant medicine, but you guys don't know the backstory. You guys don't know how I met the plants and where I worked with them and how I worked with them and the healers that supported me along the way while I was using them. And so that's what the story is. I write memoir. I write personal experiences. And that's a really vulnerable thing to do. And every time I put out more of this into the world, I have to stretch more. I have to stretch more in courage, and I have to stretch more in confidence, and I have to stretch more in vulnerability, and I have to stretch more in trust, and I have to open to more encouragement, and I have to open to more support, and I have to allow other people to be there for me. The thing that I think that a lot of people don't quite know if you're not writing this kind of stuff is the level of insecurity that surfaces. And my writing coaching, my writing retreats, and all this kind of stuff that I'm doing, I support people through that process. The insecurity is amplified. The more honest you are in the writing, the more vulnerable you are in the creativity, the more the insecurity is amplified. I believe that everybody can write their story, whether it's 500 words, like I've done with some people, or whether it's 50,000, like I've done with others. I think that everyone can tell their story. I think everyone should tell their story because the way that it changes you is like nothing else that I've ever done. And you'll hear in my book how I used plant medicine to get through that process of bringing my first book into the world. So a lot of the second book is about the first book, which I kind of like that. I kind of like that dynamic. One of the other reasons that I've started to feel a lot of insecurity about bringing this book into the world is because like the climate of psychedelics has shifted. So, 2 years ago, I was traveling all over the country and giving talks about plant medicine, and there was a huge influx of resources and investment and energy. And Michael Pollan had his series on Netflix, and 12,000 people came to Psychedelic Science and in Colorado, and there was just like a real enthusiasm and optimism. And since then, the psychedelics industry has faced some setbacks. We had hoped to get some medicine approved that didn't get approved, and A lot of the money that was flowing in to support doctors and clinics and research and things like that had dried up or been redirected to other things. And it doesn't change the power of these medicines, and it definitely doesn't change the impact that they had on my life, for sure. I will be forever committed to these medicines. Another insecurity is around like the noise on the internet, right? Like there's so much noise. You guys might scroll past this. You might not even get to this part where I'm talking about the noise because of how much noise there is. You have an unlimited amount of content that you can consume 24/7. I know I fall into that trap sometimes. And there's just like a numbness, and creativity and plant medicine and writing and reading. It's about coming back to the present moment. It's about getting away from the scrolling and the consumption and artificial intelligence and digital reality, all of those things of which I support wholeheartedly, but it's about disconnecting from all that and reconnecting with self, with your inner voice, with your higher power, with the energy flowing through you and around you, the wisdom that's in every cell of your body. It's a different path. It's a different practice. And we're so inundated with so much noise. I have a friend that I was talking to this weekend who spent 6 weeks in Thailand. And I said, do you think that it changed you? And he said, I think it changed the way I feel about how I spend my time, because over there you do the work that you have to do, and then you have pleasure. You have things that you do that you enjoy, and you just enjoy them. And you're not trying to fill every last second with something, some chore, some productivity, some hustle, something. There's space to just have fun and just relax. And I know that I lean in the direction of too much productivity, too much work, too much hustle, too much struggle. And when it's in the air that you breathe and the people surrounding you, it's easy to just stay in that, to just stay in the noise, And so one of my insecurities is, are people going to slow down and listen to this book? I go into the studio and I take this time and this effort to make the audiobook because I know that you guys like listening. You guys like listening to podcasts and you like listening to stories, and I want it to be available to you in that way. And are you going to slow down? Are you going to listen? It's a big commitment to listen to like me talk for like 6 or 7 hours. But there's so much power in the words that I'm sharing, and I wouldn't have spent the time and the energy to put them together in the way that I did and record them for you if I didn't think that there was something important there to share, And I think about books, and in my lifetime, books have gone from like one of the main forms of sharing ideas and communicating and learning to like seeming almost archaic, seeming almost like something from a different century. Like now, like people are learning so fast, and it's like just tech tool after tech tool. And I wonder what's happening with books. Even myself, I used to read a book a week, and now I'm lucky if I get through a book a month. But there's something different about settling in with a book and allowing yourself to spend that time with somebody and really experience where they've been and what they have to share that you can't get in sound bites. You just can't. You can't get it in a sound bite. And books for me have always been a lifeline. Like, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for books. I also realized when I was in the studio recording yesterday, as I was writing this book, I was reading other books, and I tell you in the book about the other books that I'm reading, and you can see how intimately my life is woven into books, and books are woven into my life. And it's like a lifeline for me. It's always been a lifeline when I pick up a book and it's reflected back to me that someone had a similar experience. Like, the sigh of relief, the sense of comfort, the feeling of being at home, of not being crazy. Like, I don't get that from little bite sizes of content. And I've heard the things that I'm saying reflected back to me by people who have read my book, where they say, I felt seen, I felt heard, thank you for your honesty, or I cried the whole time I was reading it. And I mentioned in my post yesterday that the book that I wrote, All This Healing Is Killing Me, that book was very much about what had happened to me and how I was dealing with it. It was a trauma recovery story. It was a reckoning with the past. It was an admission of guilt in the places where I failed. It was a story of forgiving myself and forgiving others. And the last ceremony that's coming out, it's such a powerful love story. It's a repetition of divinity and the way that shows up over and over again. It's a story of connecting with strangers that then feel like family. It's about getting really dirty and getting my hands in the ground and restoring my relationship with nature. And it's so deeply grounded in love. It's such a deep love story. And I think with love stories, I think we have one version of love stories that's perpetuated over and over again in our media and our music. It's our Twilight version of love. And love is so much bigger than that. It's so much bigger. We don't even have a language for it. Like, the love that you can feel for the natural world around you, for community, for different shapes and sizes of relationships that are not this romantic married ideal. I mean, there's just so much more that's available to us. And I explore all of this in the last ceremony, and I fumble my way through it. I'm not somebody that's setting off on these adventures feeling like everything's working out for me. I'm just crawling through the jungle, literally, in one of the scenes in the book, just trying to find that feeling of belonging, that feeling of joy and healing, that feeling of connection to myself and to others. I'm just feeling my way through it. And I'm always surprised when it's reflected back to me like, Gabby, you're so brave, or Gabby, you have so much courage. And I get it. I get that it might look like that after it's all said and done, but I'm doing it scared. I'm just doing it scared. I'm just doing even talking to you about the vulnerabilities and the insecurities of producing this and allowing that support to come in. I'm just doing it scared. That's what's happening. And I realized that, as I've been in this production phase of the book, which is a whole thing in and of itself, right? Book covers and book design and book marketing and book money and all that kind of stuff, man, wow, that's like a whole other story. But I realized since I've been away from that, I haven't been writing. And I'm a happier person when I'm in it. It's a relationship that is meaningful, and maintaining that relationship, it's healthy. It's physically and mentally healthy. So anyway, again, I just want to share some gratitude and let y'all know that if there's something that you want to do it scared. Don't wait to feel confident. You're going to wait too long. And let people help you. Let me help you if you need help. I let people help me all the time. We're interconnected. You see that when you spend time in nature. You can't have the sky and the water and the sun and the trees. None of them exist in a vacuum. It's not possible. You don't exist in a vacuum. Even if you don't feel connected right now, you're connected right now. You're very connected right now. So I'm just going to try to take some deep breaths. And I'm going to try to get through this last bit of production. And then I'm going to try to get the courage to start promoting the book and listening to your feedback. And hopefully it will activate more love in you, more creativity, more healing. All right. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye for now.